Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we have the final episode of my 20onepilot animation breakdown series for the time being, as this is just the last animation I had saved up in my queue, and I do need to make more, so this is just the last one I have for the time being, as we're going to be moving forward with the series eventually as I create more as we go along throughout the year. But in this episode, we're going to be focusing on Blurryface, and this one took a bit of a time to create, not as long as Scale and Nicey, but again, a few weeks to create, gather all my thoughts in, and be able to execute a final video. We're going to take a look from start to finish, from drafting to the creation of assets, and then the final animation, and step by step how I went through all this process and able to come with the final product. And on the outside, this animation doesn't look too crazy, but there were a couple problems I dealt with, and we're going to be going through how I overcame those and had a compromise overall for the final product. So let's get right to it. Okay, so let's go over some of the early drafting and concepts I had for this project. So let's start at the beginning. The Blurryface album art, again, released in 2015, and we have a couple different elements in the album when it comes to the text, the 9 circles, which represents the 9 bishops in the storyline, and then this hazy background in the back. So seeing this album, I decided to take some elements from this one and Heavy Dirty Soul, which is the first song on the album, where it starts off with the car, and the music video is really cool, based on how it goes through. Tyler's in the car, he's being driven by an unknown figure, and then the car slowly loses its wheels, its embers come out of the sparks, come out of the car, and then the car ends up blowing up at the end of the music video. So I decided to take that car and make it a cohesive little animation when it comes to the album art. And my original concept was to have the car blow up, but that wasn't too practical. I felt like it took a lot of time to get the exact look I was going for when it came to the car burning and exploding. But I decided to scale it back, have a more simple looping animation, which I'm pretty accustomed to. That's what a lot of these animation videos come down to. But yeah, this is like the early concept phase where my head was at for this before the project started. Now here we are in Illustrator, where we do have a couple different assets we're going to be sending over to After Effects, but we do have a couple of them to show right here. Now I can't draw, and to overcome that, I had to take some vector assets from Adobe Stock, which is great because it had some similar looking cars on there that matched the music video one close enough, and the perspective was right because I was looking for this not so 2D or top down. I was looking for more of like a angled shot of the car, and this one worked really well. I was able to alter some of the pieces of the car and have its the colors not match up entirely, but close enough where it's be able to see, because it's gonna be on a black background. I don't want too many darker elements on top of each other. But yeah, here's some other versions of the car that we had. And after taking this car, I had some other ideas of maybe having it driving with so to signify that I could have like yellow lines going across, and that'd be not a difficult way of showing the car moving. But I will have a problem eventually when it comes to having the car's wheels turn, because these aren't exact circles, and the perspective of them is a little weird. And when they rotate them, it just doesn't look right. It's as you're gonna see, yeah, it's just a blob just rolling on the ground. And I tried making custom wheels, but I ended up just scrapping that. It was too difficult. I had the middle part of it try to rotate, but just the shape of it just looks a little bit off, and I decided to not go through it in the end. We also have a little bit of light, which I thought would be kind of cool. The music video ends with it being dark, so just to add some other flair and elements to it was always nice. I like subtle details to something, but that's here or there. And then that's pretty much it here, as we're going to move over to After Effects. Okay, so here we are in After Effects, and I'm going to be showing final comp start to finish. So we do have a couple different elements that I'm going to be showing off when it comes to the different light sources, the fire, the car itself. And yeah, this is basically how final comp goes. And now let's get into different elements that create that, and maybe some things that didn't quite work out. So we do have the main car comp. All different elements are layered out because I did have plans for multiple fires going on in the car, but I ended up not needing that. But it is nice to have them separated out in case I wanted to put fire, like here, for example. They are going inside the car itself, but I ended up not doing that. I had some ideas of the car having fire in the back. I just felt like it took away from maybe the eye moving too much. So I decided not to have those different elements there. Some other things that didn't quite make the cut were the sparks. I thought were kind of cool. Maybe a little ambitious, but in a different world where I'm better at animating, probably could have pulled that off better, but alas. I also had an idea of having the car move, like I said earlier. This was kind of cool how I did this. So we do have yellow lines representing the car driving a little bit. And then this is in its own comp where it's being repeated over and over. And then within that, or outside of that, I do have the car, I have the lines comp stretched out, and it kind of looks realistic where the perspective, I don't think I did a bad job at it. I'm actually pretty proud of how I did this one. I know the perspective, how it's going just to match the car. It's just that the wheels just didn't look right. And that was the main thing. I believe these wheels are here. Yes, they are. Yeah, here are the wheels. I ended up switching how I think the inner part of it was made, but it kind of looks like it's moving. I just really wanted to make it look like the actual tire itself is moving, not just the inner parts of the wheels. This isn't bad, but just not the exact vision I had, and ended up scrapping overall because I already had enough elements going on. So as we remove those few elements, we do have the fire, which I got off a great YouTube guide. I recommend. It fits within the overall aesthetic of the car and the album itself. I thought it worked really nice. It's pretty simple, just 2 colors, I think a little bit of gradient. And then it has a couple different elements when it comes to it rising. It has little smokes, little embers going off, and it was pretty simple enough, and I'm glad I was able to get a good enough tutorial to get this looking the way I wanted to, because I think it fits in with theme pretty nicely. There's a couple different fires because I originally had plans for a much bigger plan to have the fires all over the car, but I thought, yeah, just keep it with the one for now. So that's what's pretty much only going on in this comp. We do have a little bit of smoke as well that's gliding along. I think it's like looping back and forth. But yeah, this is all it is for now here. Now we do have the main comp, which takes the car, and then we're adding on some more elements. We do have some noise, very little noise. And then we also have the lights. So the comp starts off with some light sources going off, and they match the timing of the fire, which I thought was a nice touch to have it illuminate. And then, so it starts off black, and then it'll come to light, and then it goes through, and then it's eventually going to close out, and then the scene goes out, and then it loops, which I thought was kind of cool. A lot of different animations have done loop like this, except for Scale 90. That's a weird one where it's not a square, which the other 3 are, and then it also originally wasn't looping, because I know that one had like a pan or a zoom in on the TV, and then the TV shuts off. But this one, like the others, loops pretty seamlessly, and I'm glad I was able to get that. But I do have a backup light source in the back where I figured I would have another fire going on, but I think this is towards the end of it. I decided to not have backfire. I kind of like having the just single fire source up top with the light source, and then as the car you see in the back, it gradually gets darker. I thought that was kind of cool, so I ended up keeping that. We do have the text with the 20onepilot up top and the Blurryface at the bottom. I got this off of Monster Design's asset library, which I'm very grateful for. I got off previous assets from him. It was the Clancy poster I did. That was more background. This one was just some text. I think I image traced them and then imported them into After Effects, and they work really nice, really clean. And I don't think they follow the haziness or light source. They might not. Let's actually see right here. Okay, so they don't, because they're not a 3D object, but they have they do illuminate with the opacity. I think I took this off because the light source will, if there were 3D objects and if they followed light source, it would kind of be a little bit dim. Yeah, so it wouldn't. No, this kind of looks cool too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's there. But yeah, I just did a very static opacity fade on with that, and then we do have some grain from here. Yes, we do, just a tiny bit, but on your phones you can't really tell. You can barely tell there's smoke. I remember looking at this on my phone and barely noticed the smoke. It's just very faint. but my monitor is a little bit different than what you view on the screen. I hope to get more high quality monitor just to get the color ranges a little more in tune. I feel like that happens a lot with my designs. On my screen it looks fine, but then either on the phone or another person's laptop, it just looks a little bit different than what I intended for, and it's always a struggle to deal with, especially when it comes to printed stuff. But yeah, that's basically it. I have a couple different things that aren't used, like the extra fires, the sparks, yellow lines, the driving elements of the car. But this is basically encompasses like the whole design of it, and I'm really happy with how I was able to be able to step back, maybe cut some things from it, and I think, yeah, I'm really happy with this overall. So I hope you guys enjoyed that breakdown. This animation definitely wasn't my most difficult I had to create, but it was a challenge to get all the ideas I had going onto the screen and being able to execute them to the best of my ability. Finished work is always way better than having lingering projects that never see the light of day, and I'm glad this project didn't see that same fate where I feel like a lot of designers struggle with that, where they have projects that never get off the ground entirely, or they're half creations and they just don't end up working out, or just something that goes wrong. And I'm glad I was able to push this one through forward. I could have tacked on a few more months creating this animation, and I probably wouldn't have gotten the gains that I was looking for, and probably would have wasted time overall. And with that, I'm back to the drawing board because I am out of 21pilot videos to break down. But this next one I have planned is called Vessel, and I'm going to take you guys from start to finish, showing you guys how to create that one. So I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.